Okay, so what is up guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I want to talk to you about the Shure MV7. That is this beautiful microphone in front of my face, came out of this really nice looking box. And just before we actually jump into this video, I wanted to point something very important out. This might just be the best put together microphone that I've ever used on this channel. In fact, the best put together microphone that I've ever used, period. Because when I consider all the features and everything that this microphone brings to the table, I don't think personally using this microphone, I am ever going to need to ever upgrade my microphone again. Like, this feels like my final bus stop when it comes to buying microphones, and I am very pleased with that. So in this video, let's talk about the Shure MV7.
The Khan of Gods!
So first things first, let's actually talk about the unboxing experience for the Shure MV7. You get this really interesting white and black box that has some information about the microphone. When you actually open up this box, you're going to get another box, which basically is the box that actually contains the microphone itself. It's a plain white box. When you open that up, you're going to get some paperwork. It's basically a quick start guide that tells you everything about the functions and the buttons and everything on the microphone. And it also tells you about the Shure Plus Motiv desktop app that basically lets you control everything there is to control about this microphone with software on your computer. And that's pretty much about everything with the paperwork when it comes to controls. Aside that, you're going to get the microphone itself, which actually has I don't know what to call this. It's basically the stand attachment. It's basically already attached to the microphone inside of the box. And beyond that, you're going to get two cables. They are USB cables. Now, you're going to get a USB-C to regular USB cable, and then you're going to get a USB-A to regular USB cable for connecting this to all the computers that are not using USB-C, which is actually pretty thoughtful. And yes, this is a dynamic microphone. It does have USB and XLR. It's a cardioid pickup pattern with a sample rate of up to 48 kHz, bit rate of up to 24-bit, and a frequency response of around 50 Hz to around 16 kHz. Now, speaking about the physical bits for this microphone, let's actually start from the back of the microphone. On the back of the microphone, you're going to get an headphone jack that's going to give you low latency monitoring, so you can actually monitor everything that you're speaking into this microphone. If you're actually using the Shure Plus Motiv software, you can actually toggle between listening to what you're saying and listening to the computer's audio as well. So you can actually monitor audio that's in your DAW directly from the headphone jack over here, and it's next to zero latency, right? You're going to get a huge XLR port that's basically XLR output if you want to use this microphone with XLR like I'm doing right now. And you're going to get the USB port, which you can simply just plug in there and then plug into your computer, and you can send an audio signal with just the USB cable, which is actually pretty fantastic. On the top of the microphone, I assume this is the top, you're going to get a mute button, which is mostly disengaged. Now, everything on the top of this microphone is touch controlled or capacitive controlled, so to speak. Controlling the volume for this microphone is pretty straightforward because all you have to do is slide your finger across and it can change the volume, and you can slide it again and you can slide it and it just increases that way. To the right side of that, you're going to get a toggle that basically lets you toggle between controlling the volume of the microphone and controlling the volume of the headphone that you're monitoring with this microphone. So when I toggle this, the lights become orange, and now I'm essentially going to be getting, volume controls for the headphones that I'm using if I was monitoring with headphones, which I should actually be doing right now. So monitoring the headphones, you actually get next to zero latency, like I said before, and it actually sounds pretty good. Off to the side of that, you're going to get a lock button. This is where you can basically lock all the touch controls to prevent accidental touches from the microphone, or if you're somebody who is really clumsy or you're a gamer or something and you're very animated, you can actually lock the microphone's touch controls by holding down the mute and the headphone/microphone switch button for 2 seconds or thereabouts, and the lock is activated. And you can use the exact same motion to pretty much unlock the touch controls for the microphone. That's pretty much about everything for the physical bits of this microphone. Talking about the build quality for the microphone, it's actually mostly all metal, and you get a pop filter on the front, as you can see right now. And then there's a capsule on the front with like 3 screws holding it in place and stuff. Nothing too surprising. Now, one thing that I noticed with this pop filter though is On the front of the pop filter, it's a lot lighter than the sides, so it's going to do a terrible job of rejecting plosives. So it's not going to reject plosives as well as something like maybe the Samsung Q9U or the Shure SM7B, for example, but it still does a pretty decent job, so it's not terrible. I mean, this is the audio quality that you can expect when you're using this microphone in very close proximity for like podcasting or radio applications, and it actually still sounds pretty good. Now, just as a disclaimer, it's important for me to point out that all the audio that you're listening to right now was not edited, was not EQ'd, was not compressed. Everything that you're listening to is directly from this microphone into my DAW recording directly in front of me right now and mastered onto the audio without any changes. I did not rehearse, I did not compress, I did not EQ, I did not do any such things. The only thing that I have done to this audio is increase the volume so that it can be audible for you watching this video and you can actually hear me properly throughout this video recording. And currently, I am actually recording over XLR and not USB, but I do have the USB cable plugged into my computer, and I can actually record both feeds separately to two different devices. So for example, I can actually be recording over XLR to a completely different device like a sound recorder or something, and I could also be recording over USB into my computer at the exact same time without any issues. That's pretty fantastic. Also, most of the controls on top of the microphone are essentially going to be USB dependent. So what that means is the volume control, for example, is only useful if you're working over USB. If you're not working over USB and you're using XLR, that becomes useless because, you know, your XLR device or the device that you're recording onto is going to have a volume control for the microphone anyway, so this volume control becomes redundant. Same thing goes for the headphone switching and all that stuff. It honestly just becomes redundant because in fact it's not going to work. The microphone is actually not going to light up on the top if you're not connected over USB. If you're using just XLR, you basically just have a microphone that's functioning and recording onto your XLR device, period. The headphones were making me a little uncomfortable, so I had to take them off. So let's actually talk about the sound quality for this microphone and what I actually feel about this microphone. At the beginning of this video, I pointed out that this might just be the best put together microphone that I've ever used, period. And I don't say that lightly because I have used a lot of really, really high quality, fantastic microphones. But this one just seems like the most complete one yet. Yes, it's a dynamic microphone. And when we're speaking about the quality of the sound from this microphone, it's absolutely impeccable. I mean, I like the fact that with the Shure Plus Motiv software, you're actually able to control a lot of things like the frequency response and things like that. Maybe you want a flat response from the mic or you want to EQ it a certain way. They actually give you some presets on the software. But again, if you're not somebody who likes to fiddle too much with your stuff, I'll probably just advise you to completely ignore that. You know, you probably already have a DAW that you want to use, GarageBand, Adobe Audition, Logic. If you're already good with those softwares, you actually don't need to worry about that, and you can do pretty much everything you can do with the Shure Plus Motiv software with any of these other softwares that you're already really, really good at, especially because most of these are probably a little more professional than the Shure Plus Motiv software. But of course, if you want direct controls of the microphone and like have like a software hardware relationship with the microphone, you can actually use that software or desktop app to pretty much run that. Now, just so we make sure that we test every single part of this microphone and everything that it has to offer, so I'm actually going to switch over from using the XLR port to using the USB so that you can actually hear the difference, if there's any, in the quality of audio that you're actually able to get depending on what kind of cable you decide that you want to use with your microphone. For this purpose, I have pretty much avoided using any sort of dongle. I am plugging directly into my MacBook just to make sure that the audio quality is about what you should expect for this microphone without any interference or static noise. Okay, so this is what this microphone sounds like with the USB connection directly to my computer. I am no longer using XLR, so I can no longer control the volume of the intake with my M Audio 192.4 here. But I think it sounds really, really good. Now, let's actually mess with the volume a little bit and see what the differences are. And actually now, the mute button is going to work if I touch. Where on USB the mute works, and I can actually take the volume up another notch and see what that does to the audio quality. Actually, this is not bad because even at the loudest, it's actually not clipping. Okay, now it's clipping because it's I I can see some red. I think that's probably from Plosives. But when I take the volume down, I think we're perfectly fine, and the microphone actually sounds fine this way. We don't have any problems with Plosives anymore. And like I said before, this microphone probably is going to have some issues with Plosives, but you can decide for yourself from the audio quality over there at home if you think that this microphone's pop filter does enough for Plosives. Personally, I think it could have been better, but it's perfectly fine. So moving away from the sound quality, the build quality, the design, the actual functionality of the microphone, and everything you get with the unboxing experience, I still think this might be the best feature-packed dynamic USB/XLR microphone that I've used. This is definitely better than the Samsung Q9U that I tested a few weeks ago, because again, that one had some durability issues that this one does not. And this is slightly more expensive than that one. But of course, you can actually see why it's more expensive. It does have a few more features, and to be honest, I actually like the way this looks a little better than the Q9U. This just looks a little sexier. I don't know, maybe it's the silver that's making me feel that way, but it just looks and feels fantastic. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. That was pretty much all my thoughts. Actually, the volume with the USB seems to have dropped a lot, so let me just increase that. Yes, so thank you so much for watching this video. I guess I will see you on another video that was shot by Kagan. Peace.
The Khan of Gods!